Hello everyone, welcome to another session of Snowflake. Today we'll have a look at a concept called streams. Streams are used for capturing the changes that is happening on your incoming data sources and which are being implemented by the ETL workloads. So if you come from a database background or ETL background, you might have heard a lot about CDC, change data capture. So what is change data capture? Let's quickly have a quick overview of CDC before we get on to streams, because streams is very similar to CDC. It is based on the same concept. So change data capture is basically whenever you get some data in your input file and you are daily doing some processing on that. Okay, so whatever process happens on that day's data, so those up, if these can be either an insert, it can be update, it can be delete, right? So these the ends data stored in our database. But what happens in a warehousing world, we don't really delete a record. Okay, we don't really update a record. What we maintain is history. We maintain the initial state of that record and we maintain the new state of the record. Okay, so this is referred as the change data capture, and I'll give an example as well. So just remember this, right? If you get a record and you want to perform some update on that, what happens in the end is you don't really go ahead and delete the record. The previous record gets closed and the new record gets inserted. So I'll try to give an example. Okay, uh, let's say we have a user called James and he's staying in London. Okay, so you have this record in your database, it is added, it has some start date. Okay, and let's say it is there in your target database. After say couple of days you again get this record, and by this time James has shifted. Okay, he has moved to, let's say, New York. So what happens is we don't really go ahead and update this record. We don't update London to New York. What we do is we close this record and we insert this record. Okay, so that is how the history is maintained. This is a your typical SCD type 2 processing. Okay, SCD is your slowly changing dimensions. There are various types of SCDs. SCD2 is the most popular ones where you can maintain the whole history. So what happens in warehousing world is we don't really delete a record. We'll close the record and we'll insert the new record. This is how SCD is implemented in a typical warehousing world. The same thing, okay, is implemented using this CDC feature. So what CDC can do? It can identify the changes. It can identify whether the record is a new insert or it's an update. Like this record, James New York, it's an update to the older record. So using the CDC process, we can identify this. So the whole CDC process means identifying whether a record is a completely new insert. Let's say there is another record by the name of, let's say, Dev, and he is based out of, say, LA. Okay, so this is a completely new insert. There is no record which corresponds to Dev, which is present in your warehouse. So a record can either be an insert or it can be an update. So using CDC, we can identify this. And in the older ETL tools, right, we have to implement this. We had to implement this. So we had to take the key column. Let's say the key column is this name here. Okay. Then we'll have to do a lookup and see whether the record exists. If not, then it's a new insert. You generate the surrogate keys, add the record. If it already exists, then you have to see whether you need to update or it's a no change, right? So all this CDC process, right? To implement this, we had to do it manually. But in Snowflake, right, there is a directly a feature called streams, which can take care of all these things. So what are streams? So streams are basically used for tracking such CDC changes on your source. Okay, you basically create a stream on a table. So if you have a table called customer, you can create a stream on top of that. Now, any change that happens on this table, okay, that gets recorded in this stream. So if a record gets inserted, you'll have that in the stream as an insert. If it gets, updated, you'll have that as two records. One is the closed record, the older one, and the new record. right? And then you can consume the stream. Okay, this stream can be consumed. You can query this stream to identify whether a record is an insert or there is some updates that has happened on this. So how do you create a stream? Okay, this is the syntax. You can create or replace a stream on table. So you have to give the stream name and the table name on which you have to create the stream. Now, uh, after that, right, you don't really have to do anything to populate the stream and all. It will be done automatically. So if something gets inserted in T1, okay, that will get reflected in stream. Okay, so if you do a select star from the stream, you should be able to get this. And how do you get whether it's an insert or delete, right? See, when you consume the stream, you'll be taking these records and doing some operations and putting it into the target table. So to do that selective filtering, you can have a where clause where metadata action. Okay, if you mention an insert, it will the stream will give you the insert records. If you mention is that delete, it will give you all the close records. Okay, this is how these streams are created and these are consumed. Okay, and now it can be done on native tables as well as external tables. Okay, streams are available on that, and once the stream is consumed, okay, it gets cleared out. Okay, so whatever you have taken from the scheme, it will understand that, it will remember that. Okay, and the next changes will start getting populated into stream, so that next day you can go back and use this. Now, what is the use case, right? What is the use case of doing all these things? So as I mentioned earlier, right, previously in ETL, we had to implement all these things. We had to implement the CDC process. Now, you don't really have to do that. If you're getting a daily end of the day batch data, let's say you are getting a file daily, the customer file. So on the very first day, right, you populate everything into your cust table, the target dimension. From the next day onwards, you can create a stream and then you start consuming this stream. So you don't have to go and check each and every record on daily basis. So first day, if you got, say, let's say 1,000 records you have entered into, you are populated into your target table. The next day, say you get again 105 records, the stream will know, okay, out of those 105, whether the new all the 5 are new inserts or there are new inserts as well as updates in the existing data. So streams can help you do that. So this will help a lot to reduce the manual efforts for that would go into implementing the CDC logic. So all those things go away. That is where streams can really help in, and that is how it is used. Now, streams are used in a various way. It is used along with task, also in Snowflake. It can be used in for your micro batches, wherein you have continuous data flow and you have to immediately find what are the changes that has happened in the data. So there are multiple use cases uh, based on what kind of what is your business requirement, what you're trying to achieve. You can use streams for implement the CDC logic and the SCD type 2 kind of implementations.